Hi again. Today I'm going to talk about this book, Born Fighter by Dave Hazard, which is the story of his career as a Shotokan karate competitor and instructor. Dave was born in the East End of London, and in 1969 he was taken to the Blackfriars dojo, where he first saw Inoda Sensei teaching, and he joined the dojo and quickly basically fell in love with the training, and it's something that he's continued for the rest of his life up to present. He especially loved the kumite, the sparring, but it became well-rounded kata and basics as well. And he gained a real admiration for Inoda Sensei, which lasted for the rest of his life. As you read the book, you realize that the title Born Fighter is very, very apt. Dave fights at the drop of a hat. He fights in the street, he fights in workplaces, in parks, in bars, anywhere. And this was before he took up the martial arts. After he started training, it didn't slow him down for fighting at all. And in fact, he added fighting in the dojo. He talks about quite a few grudge matches he had, which were full on. So he added that to his repertoire. He's just one of those guys who has a short fuse and quick to take umbrage, and likes to fight, and doesn't moan about the odds whatsoever. So throughout the book, he's constantly scrapping. There's far too many fights to go into them in detail, but from beginning to end, there's fights almost every page. The guy who introduced Dave to the Blackfriars dojo was a chap called Ray Fuller, who he made the acquaintance of. And I remember Ray Fuller. He was one of the senior guys from London, and he was a real hard trainer and very committed to the martial arts. I was on a brief visit to London, just as a kind of holiday break, staying with relatives down there, and I think I was a green belt at the time. Inoda Sensei had left Liverpool and was now resident in London, so I went along and I trained, did one session at Blackfriars, and met quite a few of the guys, and really enjoyed the training. But Ray Fuller was noted for a story that actually appeared in the press, and it's recounted by Dave in the book, where he was in the building trade, and he was working on a roof, and he decided, because a grading was coming up, that he needed to practice kata, and he was going through one of the kata on the roof. Somebody spotted him, phoned the police, and said a guy is suicidal, has gone to throw himself off this roof. And the police turned up, and Ray explained, no, I'm into karate, and I'm just having a little bit of a practice. So it was quite amusing. Ray's girlfriend was Pauline Lavelle, who was the first female black belt in the country. So they were quite a duo. So Dave Hazard, as a brown belt, attended squad training at the Red Triangle in Liverpool, and in his own account got a bit cocky with one of the Liverpool seniors, and ended up being chased into a broom cupboard, and ended up amongst all the mops and buckets in there. He passed his black belt in 1972, got into high-class competition, competed internationally, and in 1977 decided, as quite a few guys have done, to make the trip to the Mecca of the martial arts, Japan. And he enrolled in the famed instructor course at the JKA Hombu Dojo at Ebisu. And this is a 3-year program. And he talks about some of the top instructors who were there, Yahara Sensei and so on. But unfortunately, he had a clash with one of the seniors. Doesn't talk about who it was or what the details were, but it ended up with him having to leave Japan in a hurry and come back to the UK. And he was called to a meeting by an Oda Sensei to discuss what had happened, and unfortunately Dave, the short fuse guy he is, took this as an affront that he was being blamed for something, and became abusive, and it ended up with him being thrown out of the KUGB. So he formed his own association, and for many years taught down on the south coast. He did heal the rift with an Oda Sensei, and met on a weekly basis, took Sensei for dinner at a top sushi restaurant in London, and then for a few drinks. So gladly the rift was healed. And obviously when an Oda Sensei passed away, Dave was absolutely devastated by this. So really interesting book, written by one of the legends in Shotokan. It was a book I'd thought about getting for a while. It's not available on Kindle, so I tracked down a hardback copy and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'll put a link to where you can get it, and I think you'll find you enjoy it too.